Oh boy, this will be interesting. When replaying the Shovel Knight games, this was the one I was most excited to replay, and for a good reason. Why? Well, I'll explain right now. So without any further ado, let's dive straight in. Spector of Torment is the third Shovel Knight campaign, and I'm glad it was. Spectre Knight was my favorite boss from the original Shovel Knight, so I'm glad he got his own campaign. But how would it work? He could fly as a boss, so would he fly here? If not, how do you explain it? Yeah, they don't. He doesn't fly, and they give no reason for it. A bit weird, but still. They still managed to make his moveset one of the best and most fun movesets I've ever seen in any game. He just flows so nicely. Plague Knights flowed nicely as well, but was more complex and difficult. Spectre Knights is far easier and much more fun. His main move is the dash slash. You can slash to enemies, projectiles, and these lanterns dotted through levels to help you maneuver around better. This ability is amazing. Not only does it allow you to just stay in the air forever, which is a lot of fun, but the slash can also help you get to higher levels. There are so many different puzzles where you have to slash in just the right way to get extra stuff. However, the slash isn't the only ability you have to move around with. Another ability you use a lot is the wall walk. Walking up walls not only allows you to scale higher to also get more stuff, but with two walls back to back, you can also just jump higher and higher. This ability can also help you with even basic platforming, because if you don't jump far enough or mess up, you'll climb a bit higher and making these simple jumps even easier. So the platforming is easier. Then does that mean this is the easiest campaign? No, not by a long shot. It's actually surprisingly hard. The levels are redesigned in a much harder way because, yeah, the levels are completely different. While Plague of Shadows basically has the same levels with a few slight changes, Spector of Torment is barely recognizable. There are some areas similar, but most of the time it's completely different. Even the art style in most levels is completely revamped. Each level looks different than how it does in Shovel of Hope. Some are drastic, like Mole Knight's level starting above ground, but some are a bit less extreme, like King Knight just having a slightly different color. The game goes out of its way to make everything just a bit different than the other campaigns. In fact, while Shovel Knight and Plague Knight stories take place at roughly the same time, Spectre Knight's story is actually a prequel. It takes place before both stories and actually sets them up. Why does Shovel Knight fight all these knights? Because they work for the evil enchantress who, spoiler alert, is actually Shield Knight, but possessed to be evil. But why was she in the tower to get possessed, and why do all the other knights work for her? Well, both of these questions will be answered in this game. The latter question is answered within the main gameplay. You, as Spectre Knight, are hired by the enchantress to go recruit other knights to join the Order of No Quarter. Well, not hire per se, but well, we'll get to that. Anyways, the game has you go through each level to get to each boss and ask them to join. Well, by ask, you just beat them into submission. Yeah, they only decide to join if you can beat them. Well, most of them. If you play Spectre Knight stage, since you can't fight yourself, instead you fight the Phantom Striker. He refuses to join you, which lines up with Shovel of Hope since there, he's a wandering traveler, not a full knight. But as you can see, his boss fight was changed between campaigns. In fact, all of them were. Black Knight now has a mount, you fight Propeller Knight on a bunch of ships, Tinker Knight no longer rides in his mech, but instead flies alongside it. But as usual, the campaign has a brand new town to explore. This town is probably my favorite town in all of the Shovel Knight games so far. Since Spectre Knight works for the Enchantress, his hub is the Tower of Fate. This is awesome just due to the setting alone. But anyways, this town has lots of cool stuff to do. For starters, you have your basic shops, like where you buy new costumes, health and magic upgrades, and extra abilities. However, here they're all made a bit more interesting and different than before. The person you buy costumes from isn't actually, alive, I guess. Not really sure, but you have to give him enough money before he's actually able to be talked to and then purchased from. Neat. The health and magic upgrade person shop thing also works completely differently. Instead of buying them, you find them within levels. This person is just here so you can buy any upgrades that you may have missed within the levels. Finally, the red skeleton guy. Yeah, you may have noticed I don't remember any of their names. Anyways, he's looking for his missing wife, so he's collecting as many red skulls as he can find until he eventually finds her. So you'll find red skulls hidden, well, around these levels, usually in hard to reach locations. Actually, you don't even need all the skulls to get every item. Any extra skulls you have, you can just sell to him. Also, I like that you can actually find his wife and return her to him, and when you do, they do a little dance for you. It's sweet. Also, a lot of these abilities are actually pretty useful, like the ability that lifts you, helping you with platforming, or this weird claw thing that lets you kill these knights in one shot, which is great because they're really annoying. And of course, the Will Skull, a way of regaining health in exchange for magic. Yeah, this thing's a bit overpowered. Oh, also, you can find another shopkeeper that you have to pay to bring to life, and then they'll upgrade your abilities, which is a great idea. However, as you may know, the shops aren't the only thing in town. There's plenty of charm in these towns that aren't from the shops themselves. There's a knight you can drop fire on, which changes his colors till eventually his helmet breaks, and you can see his true form, a dragon. I did not see that coming. There's also a bar with lots of interesting people to talk to. Like when you recruit a knight, they'll show up here at the bar and you can talk to them. Also, remember this person from Shovel Hope who dances if you beat Spector Knight? Well, here we get a reason for why she hates Spector Knight. She dances for him and he gives her the cold shoulder, ignoring her, which is just a funny situation and explains one random NPC just cause. They didn't need to add this, but they did. Finally, the last corner of town has these rails that you can grind on with your scythe, which is just amazing. Seriously, grinding on your scythe is so fun. There are a few levels from this gimmick, but you can also buy a costume that allows you to grind on anything, which is just super fun. Also, finally, there's the challenge shower. It's really fun, and maybe my favorite part of the tap. Wait. Never mind, you can pet a dog. You can even play with him. This is amazing. But anyways, enough of that. That's everything with this first town. Okay, on to the second town. Oh wait, there isn't one. So then what's in its place on the map? Oh wait, there isn't a map. Yeah, this game scraps the map and replaces it with just a portal that allows you to select the levels. Because of this, there isn't any wandering challengers, gym levels, and sadly, no Hall of Champions. However, they do get around not having wandering travelers by having them just break into the tower. Some of them you fight, like Raze, who actually becomes cursed by the Enchantress and is evil. He also then becomes the portal operator of that for some reason. Other bosses you don't fight, by the way, like Baz, just leaves. A bit weird, but okay. Not having a world map is a bit disappointing, but there's still plenty of stuff to do, so it's not a big deal. Okay, so what else to talk about? I like that you eat rotten food since, you know, you're dead. There's a skeleton that tries to kill you with a kiss, but instead he kills himself. That's funny, I guess. I don't know. I can't think of anything else. Well, I guess it's time to talk about the end. Oh, and to answer the question from earlier, why was Shield Knight in the Tower of Fate? Well, you're explained why in these flashbacks. Here you see Spector Knight before he was dead. His name was Donovan. Donovan and his friend Luan, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, are trying to break into the Tower of Fate to steal a locket that will supposedly keep Luan's son Raze safe. Yep, Luan is Raze's father. However, while trying to steal the locket, they're stopped by Shield Knight. Luan decides to just give up and not fight. Donovan, however, fights. During the fight, they damage the tower and it begins to fall apart. The ground below Donovan breaks and he falls. This somehow caused the Enchantress to get possessed. She then either raises Donovan from the dead or keeps him alive, I'm not really sure, and tells him that she'll cure him from this death, I guess, and turn him back human if he collects the 8 knights she needs for the Order of No Quarter. So to keep her promise, she put the magic into the locket and gives it to him. So this is why Spector Knight is going around trying to recruit knights, and he recruits 7. You fight all 8 bosses and 7 of them join, because remember, the Phantom Striker declines. And only now does Spector Knight question what he's doing. He realizes he should actually fight the Enchantress, not for her, so he sets out after her. Eventually you get to her, and the boss fight starts. It's fine, I mean it's like the same fight it was in the other campaign. It's a bit different, but mostly the same. I mean, I get it, most of the other bosses are the same with just a few changes, so of course this one will be too. But this fight feels more like a technicality, like they just needed him to fight the Enchantress just because. It doesn't feel like it was actually made for this game, which is understandable because it wasn't. The real interesting part is in phase 2, so what is it? Well, after you beat the Enchantress, Raze shows up, and she decides to use her magic to turn him into a giant monster. Now here's the real final fight with Monster Raze, while grinding on rails. They really did it. I can't believe they actually made the final fight on rails. This is really fun. But Spector Knight manages to defeat him, and it's a lot of fun. Now, with Raze defeated, the Enchantress decides to make him the 8th and final knight of the Order of No Quarter. Now, with all knights selected, the Enchantress starts to bring Spector Knight back to his original form, free from all his duties. However, he decides to sacrifice his freedom, and instead of turning himself back, he decides to turn Raze back, and Spector Knight himself becomes the 8th knight. Now, with Raze back to normal, Spector Knight flies. Yes, flies, because apparently he could have done that this whole time and just decided not to. Anyway, he flies Raze home and starts his new duties as one of the Enchantress's knights. He also just grows a longer cloak somehow, and with that, this game comes to an end. So yeah, that's the end. Last note, I'd like that you can enter Spector Knight's lair in his own stage, and after you beat the game, you see him place the locket into his chest. This is the same chest that Plague Knight fights the locket in his game, which is the same locket that he then trades to Chester, and thus the same one that Shovel Knight buys and uses in his game. Yeah, the phase locket Shovel Knight uses is the same enchanted locket the Enchantress enchanted to make Spector Knight alive. Wow, I don't know why, I find that really cool. So yeah, this game is great. The story is interesting and has a really sad ending. The game sets up and answers a lot of questions from the original games, and it also is just a lot of fun. Spector Knight is really fun to control, and is just a really cool character. He has a cool stance, he can grind on his side, he can dance, it's all really cool. But with that, that's all I have to say. Obviously, you should play this game. I don't even think I need to say that. But anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Goodbye. Hello, welcome to another in cart, I guess. I don't really know what to say here. I usually talk too long. I'm supposed to talk 20 seconds. That's how long the title cards come up. But last time, which was what was it? Hyperbolica? That was it. That was the video I made last. And that I talked for like 40 seconds. So I don't want to do that again. And I'm going to stop now because it's 20 seconds.